Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is now called to order, and I'd like to ask our city clerk to call the roll.
Deputy Mayor Ortiz is absent. All others are present.
Would you all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing afterwards for a brief moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the September 10th, 2024 meeting and the agenda of the September 24th, 2024 meeting in accordance with state law, City Council and Housing Authority policy. We have two proclamations on today's agenda. The first one is for German American Month. Mike Anderson, are you here, Mike? Come on up. Mike will share with us about this, and I will go ahead and read the proclamation while Mike is coming. Oh, good. You have the proclamation for him? I'll go ahead and read it for you. Whereas October 6th is the German American Day in the United States, commemorating the date in 1683 when 13 German families landed in Philadelphia. These families subsequently founded Germantown, Pennsylvania, the first German settlement in the original 13 colonies. Since then, more than 60 million Americans traced at least part of their ancestry to Germany. And whereas German American Societies of San Diego Incorporated was founded in the early 1960s to promote the language, culture, and traditions of Germany, in the early days, the society became so popular that 1,500 members joined. In 1971, the society was finally able to buy and rebuild its own clubhouse at 1017 South Mollison Avenue in El Cajon. The sons and daughters of Germany have served this city and this county steadfastly over the years in numerous fields and organizations. Join them in celebrating 51 years of service to this community. And whereas Oktoberfest was a celebration of German heritage, has been observed in El Cajon every fall since 1972, Oktoberfest in El Cajon continues to be a traditional, family-oriented festival with a real German band, delicious German food, and a variety of German beers, in a friendly atmosphere described in the German language as, you're going to have to help me, Mike. Yeah. I'll take your word for it. Now, therefore, I, Bill Wells, Mayor of the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 to be German American Month. We call upon all residents to recognize the vital role German Americans have played in the development of our city and our nation, and furthermore express the appreciation for promoting traditional German culture with live music, food, dances, games, and contests at the annual Oktoberfest in El Cajon. Please join us in celebrating the 52nd anniversary of the El Cajon Clubhouse. The proclamation is made, and that is that. Congratulations. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for having us again. It's been several years we've come here, and it's always a pleasure and honor to be here, and appreciate all the council and the staff support of Oktoberfest.
Yeah, well, everybody knows that El Cajon has the best Oktoberfest. It's clear, and we appreciate all the hard work. You probably had to plan this for like 2 or 3 days, or maybe a week before.
It just started last Thursday. Yeah.
Good. I'm sure it will be great, like it always is.
March. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Anybody have any questions or that's say, Steve?
Volunteers, still looking for volunteers. Who should they contact?
Yeah, we are looking for volunteers. In fact, let me introduce my cohorts here. Joel Contreras is our club president as well as a committee member. Lauren, and Tim. There you are, Tim. Committee members, club members, hard workers, and Lauren is in charge of volunteers, so she can answer that question.
Absolutely. We would love volunteers. We have all ages positions available, everything from pastries to grounds to games to cashiering, along those lines.
And what phone number should they call if they're interested?
Would you please call 619
Great, thanks.
We do 3-hour shifts for our volunteers, and they're very important to the whole thing, because people get out there and have fun. So the first people that somebody walks in the gate for the first time is one of the volunteers. If they're having a good time, it's very infectious. So we have, and the volunteers are rewarded with obviously free entry, and they get also a meal and a drink ticket. So you have a 3-hour shift, you get fed, and you can hang out for a little bit longer.
Giant plate of German food.
Yep. I've got some flyers here, but let me tell you a little bit about the date. So it starts this Friday. We have our grand opening ceremony, and that's at 6:30. I'm going to kind of spill the beans because Mike Walton may not know about it yet, but he said he would be there, and we have an opening ceremony where we tap a wooden cake.
I've done it before, yeah.
Well, he's going to be doing it because we know he's retiring and up with things. So you don't hit it too hard. That's what's happening. But yeah, so that's our opening ceremony. We have the band from Germany. Some of them are already. We've got the Facebook postings that some of them are already arriving from Germany, and we'll do the national anthems and some of the VIPs. And I know several of the council members have been there, joining the supervisors and state senators and stuff like that. So it's awesome. It's an awesome time. It's a good kind of a good Munich type display of Oktoberfest opening on a much smaller level. So we have the dates on this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 27th to the 29th, and then the following Saturday, Sunday, Monday, the 4th through the 6th. What's that? Yeah, don't listen to me. Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 4th through the 6th. Yeah, so it's a great time. Like we were saying, lots of different food. Our specialty is the ox on the spit, which we have big sides of beef and they roast all night long. But we've got 12 different German beers on tap, 3 or 4 different types of sausages.
Dozens of pastries.
Dozens of pastries, potato pancakes, potato salad. Anybody want to have anything?
Polka.
Oh, yep. So we have a raffle. We have daily raffle prizes. Well, not daily. Every time the band takes a break, she does a raffle, and they have different, local prizes. And then on the last night at 6:30, no, at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on the last Sunday, our grand prize, which you don't have to be present there to win, is a round trip flight for 2 to Germany. So.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yeah. So.
And then you have to come back and tell us how we did.
Yep.
Now, are all tickets at the door, or can you buy them online? Or?
You can buy them online. You can go to our website with our link is oktoberfestelcajon.com, and you can buy them there. You can buy them at the door. You can, buy your entry passes, and then you can buy more tickets inside. So we try to make it convenient. I will say that the lines, especially on Friday and Saturday nights around dinner time, can be pretty long. So if you either plan to stay in line or get there early. The other thing is our parking, because our fest takes up a lot of our parking lot, it's so much better to get an Uber or something and drop off. We have a drop-off zone right smack in front of the grounds, and it's safe, it's easy, and you don't have to hunt for parking, on your way out of there after a couple of beers, and on a Friday or Saturday night.
That's a good idea. Smart.
So,
okay.
Oh yeah, well, so our admission for adults is $15 on Friday and Saturday nights. We have it's a reduced admission on Sundays, $5. Again, it's just for adults, those 21 and up, and that's kind of more of a family day. So it's a little quieter, and the kids are always welcome, but it seems to be a little bit less rowdy on a Sunday than on a Friday or Saturday night. Yeah, we have the kids zone. Period. There's a whole area where it's alcohol-free area where the kids can play and cheap games and just kind of fun things that they can do. And but they can also be on the dance floor dancing with their parents or grandparents or themselves, and get all the food and pretty much everything but the beer. So chicken dance. Yep, we have the chicken dance about once an hour. So it drives some of the members nuts, but the people, the kids love it. Some of the adults love it too. Yeah. So anyhow.
It's fun. Anybody else? Thanks, Mike. Thanks, crew. I appreciate you doing this. We look forward to it. Thank you.
Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be German. So Councilman Kendrick is going to be standing here because his
back is bothering him, but he's a trooper. He's here anyway. So thank you, Gary. The second proclamation is for Human Resources Professional Day. Human Resources Director Marisol Thorne, will you tell us about this? And then I will read the proclamation.
And Mayor and Council, as she's coming to the podium, I'm just going to say a few words. You know, I just got back from a city managers conference, and a big chunk of what we talked about was HR-related types of topics. And we know studies show that since the pandemic, worker engagement across every sector and across the United States is down. And so the role of HR has become increasingly important. Over the past year, specifically, our team has really shifted a lot of what we do away from just hiring and processing paperwork to really focusing on mental health, physical health, comprehensive health of our employees. And it's one of the ways that we're trying to support our employees so they can provide better service to our community. So with that, Ms. Thorne.
Thank you, Graham, Mr. Mitchell. Sorry. So I want to say an appreciation on behalf of the HR department for this recognition. Amid the challenges that Graham just stated, our HR team has been phenomenal. They have been challenged with the marketplace of maybe individuals who are not interested in working. So we've kind of gone through that shift. We've focused in the past year on attracting and retaining talent. We have revamped our orientation to be more engaging to the new hires. We continue to promote mental wellness, emotional health through different facets of financial literacy, mind, body, and even personal challenges. As Graham mentioned, there has been kind of havoc in the work industry, and HR is not alone. Recent studies show that HR has had the highest burnout rates as well as turnover, with more to come in the future. And I'm very grateful for my team here, who I'm going to have stand up and recognize. So Megan, Chelsea, and Selena are here with me, and they have been open to these challenges with positive attitudes, a lot of humor. And I cannot thank them enough for their commitment, not only to the city, but to our team, because I think for our city to have a strong HR department, they have to have a strong team who really supports and cares for each other and has a true friendship. And we've managed to have all of this amid all these challenges. And with that, I do want to thank also the mayor and the city council for all your support throughout these years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me read this proclamation for you. Whereas human resources professionals play a vital role in fostering a productive and positive workplace environment, ensuring that organizations thrive through effective talent management, employee engagement, and strategic planning. And whereas HR professionals advocate for both employees and employers, creating a balance that promotes fairness, diversity, and inclusion within the workplace, and whereas the contributions of HR professionals extend beyond recruitment and retention, encompassing training and development, performance management, and well-being, and whereas recognizing the significance of HR professionals fosters appreciation for their dedication and expertise in navigating the ever-evolving landscape of workforce management, and whereas on this day we celebrate the commitment, knowledge, and skills of HR professionals who shape organizational culture and drive success. Therefore, I, Bill Wells, Mayor of the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim September 26th, 2024 as Human Resource Professional Day in recognition of the invaluable contributions of HR professionals to our organization and the community. Thank you very much. Thank you all for all your hard work. Agenda changes. Staff, do you have any?
Sir, we have no changes.
How about council members? No. We are now at consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any of the consent items? Staff, do you wish to pull any consent items?
No, sir.
Angela, do you have any speaker cards for consent items?
No speaker card, sir.
I'd like to make a motion then to approve the consent items. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
That brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, City Council and Housing Authority members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do you have any speaker cards for public comment?
We have one from Brenda Hammond.
There she is. Hey, Brenda.
Hi. Hi, Graham. Mr. Mitchell. But you're not my boss. Okay, so, hi. I just put this together while taking a power nap in the parking lot, so bear with me. I love the German month proclamation. My mother's German, and she just recently, she's 88 years old, she just recently learned German from a prominent German resident and professor. My father was full-blooded Bohemian. So when these different groups yell and scream about their heritage, I say, hey, I'm Bohemian and German, and proud to be called a cracker. And so now I have time. No, I just put this together just now. So my point is, we're all Americans, and if we're here legally, we're here legally as U.S. citizens. And so I have time. I'm not stealing Truth's hat thing with pins. The girls at Lemon Grove City Hall gave me this hat. It's a pink lemon, for pink lemonade. So I put all my city pins on there. That way I don't ruin my shirts. And the hat's not ruined either. So thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Looking forward to the fun.
Thanks, Brenda. Appreciate it. There are no written communications on today's agenda. We are now at public hearings, and we have two items to consider. Item 8 is for consideration to vacate existing city property and the dedication of Grossmont Union High School District property. I'll ask staff to tell us about this item.
All right, good afternoon, Mayor, council members. My name is Mario Sanchez, City Engineer, and this item before you, this public hearing item, is for the vacation of existing city property and the dedication of school property at 1100 Murray Drive. The area of interest is this intersection, and let me see if I can point that out right there. And the site has been reconfigured over the years, over the past, since the 40s. And the city's right-of-way boundaries were never adjusted to designate the proper ownership of this area. So the school district initiated this request to fully control that landscape area and for the city to maintain all their utilities within the intersection. This is just a photo of the landscape area, which is on the west or the northwest corner of the intersection. And we have a traffic signal that's owned and maintained by the city. We have utilities that are in the ground, so we still need that area for us to maintain. This is a survey map that was prepared by the land surveyor for the school district, and the blue area is the area that's going to be recommended to be vacated, which is the landscape area, and then the red area is just with the intersection itself, and the red hatching is that's owned by the school, and they'll dedicate that property over to us so we can maintain our facilities. I just want to mention that area that's in blue is around 7,500 and change square foot, and then the red area is about 2,500 square feet. And here's a photo of the area that's maintained by the school district. The city just maintains everything on the curb, gutter, sidewalk, and traffic signal facilities. And this is just the photos of the street dedication area, which is the intersection itself. We have wheelchair ramps, traffic signal loops, striping, and all the pavement as well. So to summarize, the proposed vacation of city property and the dedication of school property is consistent with the city's general plan. There's no fiscal impact to the city of this action, and staff is recommending the following. It's quite lengthy. I'll read it real quick. So the city adopts the next resolution, or council, adopts the next resolution to open the public hearing, close the public hearing, and adopts the next resolution in order to approve the vacation of city property at the entrance to Grossmont Union High School District, 1100 Murray Drive, as described by deed recorded in February 27, 1946, document 21899, County of San Diego records for public street purposes. And then item number 4, adopts the next resolution in order to accept the dedication of dedication of property from the Grossmont Union High School District at the entrance to Grossmont High School, 1100 Murray Drive, as described by the deed recorded February 27, 1946, document 21899, County of San Diego records for public street purposes. That concludes my presentation. I'll open it up to any questions.
Are there any questions? Seems pretty straightforward. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Public hearing is now open. Angela, do we have any speaker cards for this item?
We have no cards, sir.
Then I make a motion to close public hearing. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right. Any more discussion, or would somebody like to proceed with a motion?
I'll go ahead and move we adopt the next resolution in order to approve the vacation of the parcel as described in the staff report, and to adopt the next resolution to approve the dedication of the parcel as described in the staff report.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Item 9 is the 23-24 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report and the 25-26 one-year action plan. And I'll ask staff to tell us about this.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. My name is Yanira Pelayo, and I am the Senior Management Analyst with Community Development Department, Housing Division. The purpose of today's public hearing is to accept public testimony and seek City Council approval on 2 things. That is the initiation of fiscal year 25-26 one-year action plan and fiscal year 23-24 consolidated annual performance and evaluation report, which is also known as the CAPER. On an annual basis, the City of Cajon receives HUD, CDBG, and home funds as an entitlement city. These funds are used to support the city's 5-year consolidated plan. The latest consolidated plan was approved on May 28, 2024, and includes the fiscal year 25-26 action plan as the first year of that 5-year plan. The main goals that are also included in the consolidated plan and are to be used in 25-26 CDBG and home funds include the following. That is, to provide decent and affordable housing, support the continuum of care for the homeless, provide community facilities and infrastructure, and provide community and supportive services. The action plan is usually brought to City Council in February or March, and it recommends projects and programs that meet one or more of those goals, and then it comes back in April or May for final adoption. So today, in providing this information, it allows interested parties with additional time to brainstorm for eligible programs and projects that would qualify based on one of those goals, and also to apply for CDBG and home funding for the upcoming 25-26 action plan. It is anticipated that for the next action plan, fiscal year 25-26, the city would receive an anticipated CDBG allocation of 1.2 and 689,000 in home funding. This is a tentative schedule for the development of the action plan. The interested parties will be able to apply starting December 9th, 2024, and that is through the Notice of Funding Availability. That is when it will be made available for a minimum 30-day period, and all applications will be due the second week in January. The notice is published and emailed out in a distribution list of interested parties, and to be added to this list, they would have to contact housing staff. So I will go ahead and put those staff contacts on a different slide. The second part of today's public hearing, it's the 23-24 CAPER. So this is a comprehensive report, and it includes accomplishments, providing the expenditures and performance data reflecting activities that were underway or completed during the previous action plan period. In this case, the period of accomplishment is fiscal year 23-24, and that was starting July 1st, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024. Also, this is the last year of the previous 5-year consolidated plan. The specific report is submitted to HUD 45 days after the close of each fiscal year. And staff recommendation is to approve the 23-24 CAPER as presented and authorize submittal to HUD. The accomplishments that were completed during last fiscal year and are also incorporated in the CAPER document, which is attachment 1 of the agenda report, includes public services, fair housing, housing programs, and capital improvement projects. And I did add the logos of the grant awardees from last year and some photos of park improvement projects that were completed. These are the housing staff contacts. So if there are interested parties that want to get on that distribution list or just have general questions, they can contact myself, which is the first bullet point, or our housing manager, Jose Dorado. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Nice presentation. Council, any questions? Michelle?
Hi, thank you so much. Great presentation. I have a question for you. If we were to, say, partner with, like the project we did with Meridian Baptist Church, and we worked with Amicus, and we had the 6 tiny homes, and say they wanted to put 3 to 4 more tiny homes on there, can we use these CDBG funds?
For CDBG fund, yes, we can. They would have to apply through the process as explained, but if that's a future project that they would like to do, they could go ahead and do so.
All right, because I know that I talked to Pastor Slade, and he's wanting to put, just FYI, you knew about that? Okay. That's something that we had talked about recently, and he wants to do that, so we want to get going on that. And then if there were other churches that wanted to put the same type of facilities on their property, we could do that as well. Do we have to spread it out amongst different types of projects, or can we say we wanted, just by chance, we wanted to take the whole $1.2 million and we wanted to put them just in those tiny homes. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that's what's in my mind, but say we wanted to do that. Could that be done?
We do have different caps for the CDBG funding. So certain percentages do have to go to specific purposes. So it would be 20% towards planning and admin, 15% towards the public services, and then the rest would be for any additional projects. So that portion would be the one that would be used.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great presentation. Thanks. You just encapsulated a lot in a short amount of time, so thank you. Along those lines, I saw in the staff report ECTLC is scheduled for replacement of its windows as part of this program. So I know that in this thing there are operational funds and there are capital or equipment or asset purchase funds. So if they're going to purchase new windows, does ECTLC get to choose the contractor? Do they have to get 3 bids? What's the process?
Yeah, there is a specific procurement process that has to be followed under HUD, but they are able to choose a contractor that's eligible to do projects with federal funds, and they are required to do 3 bids. So they do have to put it out as a request for proposals, a formal request for proposals, and that's how they receive those bids, and we move forward with the process.
And we just provide the reimbursement. We're not really in the sourcing of the vendor process?
We are not. It's who submit those bids to them. However, we do provide technical assistance for any type of questions that they may have. But essentially, we are paying for the project itself.
And would you help them find a vendor? Because you said they have to be qualified to receive federal funds. I imagine there's a list, and they could come to you and say, who should we look to?
Yes, we're not able to recommend any specific vendors, but we are able to show them where they can find these specific vendors that are qualified or how to check their qualifications if necessary.
Sounds good. You are the expert. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else? Gary? Okay. Thanks very much. Again, nice presentation.
Mayor, if I can just make a comment. It was brought up about the Meridian tiny homes or the emergency cabins. As a reminder to the council, we established that zoning allowance as a pilot program for a period of time, and it actually expires at the end of this calendar year. Staff is already working on some recommendations to the council that you'll be reviewing at a later date, so before the end of the year.
Thanks, Graham. Appreciate that. Okay, the public hearing is now open. Angela, do we have any speaker cards?
We do, sir. One from Brenda Hammond.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi again. Well, I think this is great. I don't know if I told you that I visited the tiny homes. I didn't get to go inside because it's fenced off, but I think it's great. I think it's great what you guys are doing. That's all.
Thanks, Brenda. All right. I'm going to make a motion then to close the public hearing. Please vote. Any more discussion, or somebody like to make a motion?
Sir, motion carries by unanimous vote.
Sorry, I jumped the gun. Back to council.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Move adoption, approving the FY 23-24 consolidated annual performance and evaluation report as presented, and authorize the city manager to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and make any necessary and needed corrections, and approves the initiation of FY 25-26 one-year action plan.
Okay, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
We have 2 administrative reports on today's agenda. Item 10 is an Engine 208 implementation update. I'll ask staff to tell us all about this.
Good afternoon, Mayor Wells.
Hi, Chief.
Respected members of the council. I'm going to introduce to you our senior management analyst for Heartland Fire and Rescue, Ms. Barbara Watkins. She's going to be doing the presentation, and she's been pivotal in working with other departments in the city and the city staff in managing the funding for this project. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Barbara Watkins.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. So I have an update for you on the Engine 208 implementation that we've been talking about for a few months. And I'm going to start with the project goals, so kind of going back to the reasons why we're doing this in the first place. So firstly, to reduce calls for service volume loads from existing response units, and this is primarily from stations 6 and 8. And then also in an effort to reduce the city's dependence on automatic aid from neighboring fire jurisdictions. So to go over some of the things that we've done thus far, and some things that are still in progress and the larger picture stuff, but the SAFER grant application has been submitted. That was done back in April. We were able to identify funding sources for the fire engine, the purchase of that, and then also the outfitting associated and necessary. We also finished sourcing and procuring that fire engine, which was a monumental task to get done. Those are harder to purchase than you would imagine. And then some small equipment outfitting purchases too, some of the smaller stuff that goes on those engines. So these are things that we've done already. Some of the in-progress project items we have is the larger equipment purchases for the outfitting, staffing, identifying further funding sources for the additional staff associated with this new engine, and then the Station 8 modifications or remodel that will be necessary to house that additional staff. This is just a different visual. So the main components are staffing, equipment, and funding, and those kind of lead into some more detail items. The hiring of 9 firefighter medics, that's pending the SAFER grant award. Promoting fire engineers and fire captains as well. Potentially modifying the labor MOU and creating a new classification, firefighter EMT rather than firefighter paramedic. And then going into the equipment, the objective here is to obtain the fire engine and the needed outfitting, like we talked about. The fire engine has been ordered. We have not received that yet, but we did pay for that and procure it officially back in August. We purchase equipment and personnel protective gear, the PPE that they wear. This is the part that's in process still. And then going down to the funding, the application for the SAFER grant, as I mentioned, is complete. That was done back in April. We're still waiting on notice of that award. And then the other items related to potentially MOU and funds as well. And then project timeline. So these are kind of our benchmarks of where we're planning to be. So September 30th, that's next week, which is very exciting. We're anticipating an award notification from the SAFER grant. So we're almost there. Hopefully that comes next week. That's not a guarantee. That's just an estimation of when we expect to hear. November 2024 will be promotional exams for fire engineer. December will be our deadline to obligate the remaining ARPA funds for the outfitting items we have. January, we'll start a new academy for firefighters. And then January, February, that time frame will be promotional exams for fire captains. So engineers first and then captains. And then March, we expect to have here on the West Coast in our possession, the new, what we call Engine 208 should arrive. And then May, we anticipate it will be in service and operational. And that's all I have for you.
Thanks very much. Appreciate that. Let me see if there's any questions. I'm sure there are quite a few. Anybody like to start?
Thank you for a great presentation. A question is, I forgot why we're doing firefighter EMT versus firefighter paramedic.
This is in case we do not have enough applicants, and so we would be able to hire still 9 firefighters to be able to fulfill those positions. some of the challenges that we've seen and that was shared earlier is having enough applicants for the positions, quality applicants. And we've had some challenges in recent years trying to get firefighter paramedics.
So for the public's notice, even though there's potentially one firefighter EMT, the other two people on the engine are paramedics, aren't they?
Correct. So as far as our service level goes, we would not lower our service level. It would be still paramedic level service. And most likely the goal would be, if we do hire firefighter EMTs, because that's what we have to hire, is to find out a way to get those individuals trained up to paramedic level.
And do you have any sense of how we're going to come out on the end of the SAFER grant?
I would be only speculating at this point. But we had a really good application. I believe it was collaboratively put together, had a lot of support from the city staff, and I believe it was a competitive application.
And I hear that we had to pay in advance for the engine. Is that normal?
Correct. So there's different funding mechanisms available. Usually by purchasing the engine outright, that locks in the purchasing price. What we have been seeing is just excessive pricing increases over the past several years, up to 30%.
Yeah. Okay. Good move. Thank you.
More questions? Gary?
I have a question, real quick.
Yeah.
In the unlikely event, I'll say, that we don't get the SAFER grant, this engine that we purchased is still needed for our fleet. Is that correct? We're not adding an additional, just going to sit there in the garage?
Absolutely not. Our fleet has been needing updating for a while, and it's time to retire a few of our senior fire apparatus to be able to maintain the service levels that we have.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I just have a quick question about the grant. I assume this is a one-time only grant, not ongoing.
This is a grant that has a performance period of 36 months. And so if we do not receive the grant this year, we can reapply again. But once the grant has been granted, there's 36 months of a performance period to fund those positions.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah. In the event that we don't get 9 firefighters, as you have experienced with the HR challenges, let's say we get 3, would the position be that, okay, we'll staff 1 shift rather than no shifts?
And that's an operational decision we'd have to take a look at, especially looking at what the funding is available. You know, if you recall, we provided a couple different options at the workshop, and we'd have to take a look at what we can operationally and administratively support.
Sounds good.
All right. Any more questions for the chief? Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Okay. Angela, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
There are no speaker cards, sir.
All right. Then that's back to council and looking for a motion.
Do we just receive the report? I think
There's no need for a motion at this point.
Thank you.
Okay. That's fine then. The last administrative report on today's agenda, item 11, is about a report about the El Cajon on-demand project, and staff will tell us about this.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Again, Mario Sanchez, City Engineer. This item is a professional services agreement for the El Cajon On-Demand Microtransit Project. So just I'll give a little bit of background. Back in October of 2023, we applied for a $1.5 million state-funded Clean Mobility Options Grant, and we were successful in obtaining that grant to provide microtransit services. And back in January, I was here before the council to accept the grant and utilize Nomad Transit, or also known as VIA, to provide these services. And it was via a Sandag cooperative agreement. And then fast forward to August 2024, the city executed the final Clean Mobility Options voucher agreement with the state to get the project moving along. And I forgot to mention that the service will comprise of 3 electric-powered minivans that will serve customers for local trips, for destinations within the city, trolley, transit stops, or doctor appointments, and so forth. A little bit of background on VIA. These slides are from my January presentation. They provide a turnkey operation. They provide all the service, vehicle sourcing, operations, driver acquisition, dispatch, customer service, and all the tech that's required behind that driver app. And just another slide, they provide an efficient microtransit service by using, they keep tabs of their drivers, they do planning tools, and apps for you to use their service. And this is the project service area map. As you see, the purple lines are MTS fixed routes, and the green line is our trolley line as well, or MTS route. And then that blue dot in there is our transit center. So what this service intends to do is to connect the first and last mile connections to transit and other locations within the city. And we're trying to hit a population of around 70,000 people and focus on 19,000 jobs within the valley floor. We estimate the ridership will be 200 riders per day with the 52,000 annual ridership. And the fleet size is, again, three electric-powered vehicles. One will be wheelchair accessible, and those are annual costs for the actual grant of $1.5 million for a 2-year period. And I want to show a video of what they do.
Is this public transportation? Absolutely. It is the future of public transportation.
Transit agencies and municipal governments in Valdosta, Georgia are using on-demand public transit to improve the customer experience and improving service with app-driven customer feedback.
The opportunity here is absolutely giant for on-demand to feed into these really critical first and last mile journeys that can really make or break the total journey for a commuter.
My family and I, we use this service all the time. I just take my phone out, book the ride, and on-demand is there.
We were able to reduce our costs by at least a third. It's just a more efficient model than having a shuttle, burning gas, driving around in a circle.
They are greatly reducing the number of single-person vehicles on the road. It has been the most successful emissions reduction project in all of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
On-demand service just changes people's lives. I hope it's the future of paratransit, honestly. It's hard to have an equal social opportunity when you don't have on-demand transportation.
I use VIA because I'm a half blind and I cannot drive. I order the VIA, so VIA pick up in front of my door and drop off where I'm supposed to go.
It was really important to have our daughter experience life as the 19-year-old she is. VIA really gives her that independence.
And our seniors are just loving it. It allows them to be safer, to be able to go wherever they want to go. It allows them to be productive way beyond the years that they're able to drive.
Remix enables transit planners and transit agencies to draw ideas on a map about the transit system and show the instant impacts of changing the route.
A lot of people are able to access hospitals, jobs. Numerous of people have gained employment, having access just to get to the job.
With VIA, I think we've certainly got the best technology that the world has to offer in this space.
Okay, next slide here. So I'm going to jump into our project schedule and the cost of the service and the sustainability. So the grant will fund Nomad Transit operations. Riders will be able to use the service free for the first 30 days of the program. After that, the fare will be comparable to the MTS ridership of $2.50 per rider. In the first 2 years, we're fully funded. Fare revenues and other possible transit-related funding will be able to use to sustain the project past the 2 years. And then staff will take a look at other grant opportunities as well. We're aware that there's about $300,000 available in CMO funds that we're going to pursue as well, so to fund it additional, hopefully 5 to 6 months. So we intend to deploy the 3 passenger vans by April 2025. And this is a slide that I presented before. It was just the first 2 years of operation, what their service time would be from Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. 7 p.m. They'll provide 1 wheelchair accessible vehicle, and then just their total cost. And I have a representative from VIA, Mr. Brian Nelson, so he'll be available to answer any questions as well. So with that, staff recommends that the City Council adopts the next resolution in order to accept, appropriate, and expend $1.5 million in state-funded clean mobility options grant funds and authorize the city manager to execute the professional services agreement with Nomad Transit for a 2-year term and not in the not-to-exceed amount of $1.5 million in CMO grant funds. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
Thanks, Mario. Questions? Michelle, go ahead.
Hi, Mario. Thank you very much. So let me just ask a couple of questions. I'm sure you went over some of them earlier on in your earlier presentations. Let me just go over again. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7 to 7?
Correct.
Okay. So we got that. Now, how did you plan on marketing this or letting residents know?
Okay, we'll work with the CMO. They have a marketing plan, and so we'll follow what they're intended to do, and we'll also use our city social media as well to market this project.
Okay, because I'm thinking for this particular type of service, I'm looking at possibly low-income and senior complexes are going to be a big-time help for those particular facilities. Trailer parks, those, again, are going to be mostly elderly and low-income. Board and cares, those who cannot drive, that have mobility issues and have diagnoses that cannot drive, like the one girl who had vision issues or have epilepsy and cannot drive. And then, again, partnering with maybe those who receive Meals on Wheels. When I volunteered with them, there were quite a few recipients of Meals on Wheels who cannot drive for various reasons. So I'm just wondering, I'm almost wondering if we got all of just those types of facilities partnering in with us, that we may need more than 3 vans.
We'll see. Yeah, we the El Cajon Collaborative. Do you know?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got a letter of support, so they're aware of this program. They're really anxious to get the service going. So we'll get the word out.
You know, and I understand we already have a fairly decent public transportation system. However, during the winter months when we have rain, what rain we do get, but then in the summer months when it's extremely hot, this would alleviate some of that weather-related stress. A lot of our MTS bus stops do not have shelter, and you reach a certain age, having to sit out there in 100-degree heat is not pleasant, and having this availability would be greatly appreciated. So I was just wondering how that was going to go. So if we can make sure that we kind of really target those areas, this is just my opinion, if we could really target those complexes that we already know are going to be the low income and the really impacted areas, trailer parks, senior complexes, and board and cares in those recipients, and maybe we can get some of those lists from Meals on Wheels, the El Cajon Collaborative, and I think that's about it for me anyway. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Phil?
Do we hold any liability for these vehicles and the drivers if there's an accident or anything like that as a city?
Yes, we do. We have to enter with us liability insurance with the state. VIA has to provide insurance to us for the city, so we're pretty much covered, hopefully, with any type of risk management. So,
and let's say we're 6 months down the road into this 2-year, let's call it a beta test, where we're just trying this out, where it's all funded. Do we have the ability to remove ourselves from this agreement at any point in time, or do we have to have just cause? Or
we probably need just cause. I'd have to defer to the city attorney on how to get out of that agreement.
Or so we might be locked into this for 2 years, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know? Is that accurate or?
Mayor and Council, that's my recollection of the program. It's a 3-year program that's fully funded. And so once that ends, then we have the option to renew this, but we'd have to come up with the funds. As Mr. Sanchez said, we would be looking at more CMO grant funds to continue this program in the future.
Okay. And is it our intention to, or is this, well, it's funded for 3 years. After 3 years, would staff come back to us and say, hey, we only have 50% of it funded, do you want to fund the rest? Is that how that would work out?
I think we'll have to see how it's used, right? It's hard to say what our recommendation would be, but at some point, when the funding runs out, if there's not another source of funding, that would be a potential something that the city council could do, is utilize its own funds.
Okay.
But we'd have to do the analysis during the pilot period.
That's step 19. We're on step 1, but okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mario, thank you for the presentation. I have a question for you, which might be for the agency, but I'll go ahead and ask you, and you can gatekeeper it.
Okay.
I'm curious whether this seems like a point-to-point service from my house to the grocery store, from my house to the doctor. And the transit service provides a lot of similar close service today. My question is, has the company seen any impact on the number of riders on existing public transit?
I don't have that information, but maybe Brian can shed light on that. Do you want to come up? Yeah. Yeah. And I failed to mention, I think they have 3 or 4 deployments that they're working on in the county.
Yeah. Hi, council members and mayor. So we operate services all over the country. One specific one that comes to mind is Utah Transit Authority, where we operate microtransit that's connecting to their existing fixed route network. And so the main goal of that is to provide first mile, last mile trips in areas that have big transit gaps to get to those destinations. So in determining the service zone for El Cajon, we wanted to provide trips that easily served getting to and from the transit center, but also those areas where transit gaps. So it does provide point to point. With Utah Transit Authority, we did see fixed route ridership increase by 54% over the course of a year since they launched microtransit. So it's really helping to complement the existing fixed route system. And in the VIA Rider app, individuals can book multimodal trips, so they could see the fixed route options as well as microtransit, which really helps protect the microtransit capacity. In our vehicles, 4 or 5 passengers could fit in at one time. MTS bus could fit 100. So that really helps give people different options to show what's more efficient and faster there.
So are you saying, if I heard you right, that if a person would say, well, it's 10 bus stops to get to the trolley station, you're saying with a microtransit it may be point to point, and therefore ridership increased a little because it was easier to take without the 10 bus stops along the way?
That's correct. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's more incentivizing for people to take public transit when they see that there's a shorter wait time and a shorter distance time there.
Now let's talk about the wheelchair access point of view. MTS does provide point-to-point wheelchair access. It has to be, by law, the same transit time as a bus would be. So my question is, have you seen any impact on the public agency's paratransit service with this? Did it increase also for the same reason or cannibalize? What can you tell us?
Yeah, oftentimes when we do work with transit agencies, we'll commingle our microtransit software with paratransit software, so that way it's booked all through one app together to make it more efficient. So for the purpose of this pilot, we're still providing wheelchair accessible vehicles, but not in the formal sense of paratransit. But that is something that we're capable of, and definitely helps improve the ridership as well for that.
Did you see any impact on private rideshare services, since this is a similar point-to-point type thing? Was this more favorable because it was faster, shorter? You might have to pick up somebody along the way. What's your...
Yeah, you mean like a private rideshare, like an Uber or Lyft type of service? Yeah, often we see the public perception is viewed in favor of something like a microtransit service, that's because mainly it's provided by the city directly. So all the drivers are vetted, they're trained through us, they're FTA. We follow FTA regulations for that. So just be able to have the same set of drivers that pick you up, it's more predictable, it's safer versus a service like an Uber or Lyft. Any Uber or Lyft driver can pick you up. So and having the fare, as Mario mentioned, start out free and then go to $250 is more desirable than taking a ride share that could have surge pricing that impacts it.
Sure. And finally, my last question is, public transportation caps at $6 a day regardless of how many transfers you make. Do you have a cap, or is it $250 per trip regardless of number of trips?
Yeah, it would be $250 per trip regardless of trip.
Okay, so you'd have to plan your day to
correct
minimize the number of trips.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have another question. And this is more of the operations, and I don't want to get into the weeds, but how does your app or drivers prioritize riders with regard to pickup and drop off? Obviously, you're not just going to be, I don't know. I don't want to make any assumptions, but are you picking up and passing people if they're standing on the side of the road that's requested, or does the app automatically do it for the driver to say this is the most efficient route around town?
Yeah.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 2 ways to book a ride. So one, riders could book it through the app directly, but then not everybody has smartphones. So there's a call-in number where they could book a ride directly. On the back end, we have an algorithm that is essentially optimizing the route per each vehicle. So you may get in a car that's going in the same direction where I'm going to as well, so that vehicle may pick me up. But if I'm going in the opposite direction, there would probably be a vehicle that picks me up separately of that.
Okay, so it's optimizing based off of the tech that you guys have, and
Correct.
As the queue builds, the wait times increase like anything else.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is a you question or our city staff question. Is the rate at $250 per trip fixed? Is that negotiable based off of you and us in the city, or is that your standard?
Yeah, so that's 100% determined by El Cajon.
Okay.
So that fare doesn't go to us; it goes completely to the
To
city.
cover the cost of. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
if the city decided that they did want to increase the fare, they could do that overnight, and then we just increase the fare on their app. For
where I'm going with this is after the 2-3 year funding, that could be another funding mechanism to keep the program going, should we decide. Thank you.
More questions? All right, thank you very much. All right. Thanks, Maria. I think we're good. Angela, do we have any speaker cards?
There are no speaker cards.
All right. Would somebody like to proceed with the motion or enter into more discussion?
Well, I have a comment to make. And I think this is, down at MTS, this has been a much talked about subject for a long time, is first mile, last mile. It's the thorn in the flesh of how to make public transit easier to take. And when it's a 20-minute ride from here to the transit station with 10 stops, it's tough for people. So I think this is a great thing. There's a couple of other cities in San Diego that do something similar. I think downtown has the Fred microtransit, which goes around similarly. And I think maybe Carlsbad or somebody up North County.
Oceanside and Carlsbad.
Ocean Heights. And that might be a VIA service up there as well?
Those are not VIA services, but we have 4 VIA services that are launching in the winter and spring 2024.
Sounds good. Well, I'll make a motion to accept, appropriate, and expend the $1.5 million of state-funded CMO grant funds and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement as outlined in the staff report.
Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
And for the record, that was to adopt the resolution to take care of all those things, correct?
Okay. There are no commission reports on today's agenda. Item 12 is my activities report. We're at activity reports for the council members. Councilmember Goebel.
As reported with a comment that this Friday is a major press conference out at the El Cajon Transit Station. This Sunday is the launch of the Copper Line. No longer will the Orange Line stop at Professional Medical Supply on Arnell Avenue. Captain Ransweil and I are raising our hands in joy for that. And the Green Line no longer stop in Santee. They both end at the El Cajon Transit Station. Big press conference on Friday. And the service, a one-car train back and forth to Santee every 15 minutes, starts on Sunday.
Great. Councilmember Kendrick.
As reported.
Councilmember Mitchell.
As reported, but one thing to add, October 1st at 9 o'clock is the groundbreaking for the Bradley Widening Project. And that's a big deal because traffic is going to be impacted starting right about then. And so we're excited about that project starting. And so those of you who live in that area, that's Bradley, Mollison, and Graves area, please be aware that traffic's going to be impacted for quite a while. And that's it.
Great. And then Deputy Mayor Ortiz.
As reported.
All right, there are no joint council member reports, no general information items, no first or second readings of ordinances on today's agenda. We're now at closed session. The city attorney will recite the title and lead us into the closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Thank you, Mayor. The City Council will be meeting in closed session for a conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The property is located at 425 West Main Street in El Cajon. The negotiating party for the property owners is Hala Inc. and Hitesh C. Patel as CEO. The city's negotiators are the city manager and the city attorney. Under negotiation would be price and terms for payment for acquisition of the property.
Thank you. I'll make a motion then to adjourn the closed session. Second. Please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close session, then we'll come back and finish up the meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I'll ask our city attorney to report out in closed session. Actions taken in closed session.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The City Council met in closed session. Mayor Wells was not in the closed session. He had another engagement they had to get to. And in the closed session direction on item 17, which was a closed session for a conference with real property negotiators for the acquisition of property at 425 West Main Street, the City Council gave the negotiators direction.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Attorney. This brings us to adjournment. The adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this day, 24th day of September 2024, is adjourned until Tuesday, October 8th at 3 p.m.